What is going on, crypto family? This is your boy Random Arts coming with a quick video. And on today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about Roaring Kitty buybacks and burns, guys. You are hearing that correctly, buybacks and burns. Now, I'll be the first to say, and you guys probably already heard me say this before, I am not a fan of burns, guys. I am not a fan of burning tokens. But what I am a fan of is buybacks and burns. Two different concepts. One, you just receive, tokens based upon fees, and you're burning those tokens. That really don't really move the needle. But if you're actually buying the token on the open market, then burning it, that actually moves the needle. So you got to keep in mind the total supply of Roar is at a billion, guys. The total supply for Solana is at 600 million. So we only have 400 million more tokens than Solana. Let that sink in. And we're currently at 0.204383. Solana somewhere around, 165, 175, and it could move with that high supply. Now, I'm not suggesting that, hey, we're going to be, competing with Solana and stuff like that, in the near future or right now or anything like that. But what I am suggesting is as our token supply continue to keep decreasing, it is going to be able to allow us to have that pump of, I call it pumpability, the power to be able to just, skyrocket and move based upon small volume. We already see that right now. I'm talking about even less volume that's going to be able to just send us to the next level. Because currently, right now on Ethereum, there's 37 million Roaring Kitty token that's available. That's it. Until people start selling and adding more to the pool, this is currently it, the amount that is. So imagine us constantly buying from this pool and sending that to the dead wallet, and that's getting burnt. It's gonna gradually increase our floor, increase our floor, increase our floor to the point where, like, man, Roaring Kitty's floor is somewhere upwards, in the billions of dollars worth of market cap. You know, of course, we're gonna see FOMO, we're gonna see all this and that, especially when things start to rise. That happens to every token, but that is something that can happen. So this is the breakdown of how I see it and how I envision it. And again, the community have to vote for this, so this is just an idea or sketch that I have in my mind. Of course, 1 billion token is the supply, and all of that 1 billion is left on Ethereum. So despite it being on Solana, tradable on Solana, that token is still on the bridge, and the bridge is on the Ethereum side, so it's still going to reflect 1 billion. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I already made videos explaining that, so I'm not gonna stay on it. But once it gets on Solana and there's liquidity pool, and we start generating fees, right? In the fees, we're gonna be able to receive Solana. So the fact that we're gonna be able to receive Solana, guess what we're gonna be able to do, guys? Use that Solana, flip it over to Ethereum, and we could buy Roaring Kitty on Ethereum, guys. Roaring Kitty on its native chain. And once we get that, it causes a positive action on the chart by making, a buy. Buys on the chart cause the price of the token to go higher. And we take those tokens and we burn them. Now they're never going to be returning back into the circulating supply. So now Roaring Kitty starts to become deflationary. Anytime that an asset become deflationary and it's also being fueled by buys, constant buys, this is when you tend to see parabolic action, guys. Again, that is huge and massive because we could very well have a huge day where we see billions of dollars worth of volume, right? We see billions of dollars worth of volume. Guess how much fees that's going to be generated? So that's going to be a lot of fees. I would imagine, with $1 billion worth of volume, we could see a couple of millions. So imagine us getting that much in fees. And next thing you know, we're doing a $1 million buy on Roaring Kitty, skyrocketing the price. And next thing you know, we're burning the rest. We're burning all the token there. You know, causing it to become more deflationary. So now after that spike happened, of course you're gonna have some people cheat, but after the people sell their tokens, we may be able to have, or have a higher floor. It all depends of course of how much people are selling at that specific time, but typically speaking, it creates a higher floor for us, so that way when we have the next buyback and burn, we're going to start from a higher place versus a lower place. Now let's just say we end up on base, the same thing happened, buybacks and burns, constantly fueling. Sui, buybacks and burn, Tiberium, whatever chain that you want it to be on, the community want it to be on, that is how we could be able to generate the fees. Now, there is a caveat to this. When it comes to generating fees, there is definitely pros and cons to this because we have been seeing different bridge hacks happening lately from different protocols and stuff like that. So the bridges, they are extremely vulnerable. So we cannot have a huge amount of liquidity pool on these exchange or on these I keep saying exchange on these chains, due to the fact that now we're opening ourselves up, for potentially losing our funds. So the same thing with Shibarium with the hack. We only had like what, over 3 million raw token from the actual liquidity pool that was on Shibarium. The remaining, amount from that 32 million was from holders. So we cannot be over leveraged putting, more tokens on a chain that doesn't have that much liquidity. So that's a lesson that I think we all learned from. So keeping your token on Ethereum, that's definitely the best way to do, especially if that chain does not have a massive amount of liquidity. So just going forward, I know this is just a little side note to this video, but to get back on topic, we see buybacks on base. I mean, we see buybacks from the fees that received on base. Those tokens are gonna, the Ethereum that's generated from it is gonna go to the open market, buy, Roar on Ethereum. I'll put ETH, Roar on Ethereum, and once we buy it, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna go to the burn wallet. Also NFTs. NFTs gonna be, buys and sells, buys and sells. That's gonna generate fees as well too. Guess what that's gonna also generate for us to do? More buys on Roar for more burn. Because this is the part that really just gets me excited, especially when it comes to the liquidity pool aspect of what's happening on Ethereum. What's going to end up happening on Ethereum is that we're going to constantly be getting so much ETH getting poured into our liquidity pool. And as we get more ETH and less Roar, it's going to make our price start to skip. Literally, it's going to start to make our price skip, like 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents type, $1, $2, $3 type. Because now we're flooding our liquidity with Ethereum with less Roar, because we constantly are doing buybacks and burns and we're putting it onto, the dead wallet. This is the example I did. Someone wanted to buy, zero point 0.5 ETH of Roar. In this liquidity pool example, I just did 1 ETH equals to 1 Roar. So 1 ETH, 1 Roar. So it was $1. The next thing you know, somebody bought like zero point 0.5 ETH. Of course, on the ETH side, that gets added to 1.5 ETH. Then point 0.5 Roar was taken away, causing the price to have a nice skip, guys. Again, this is what I'm expecting to happen. And again, all of this does have, especially for the burns, it does have to get approved by the community, what we want to do with the fees that is generated. But one thing about it though, what I would say, like having too much liquidity on a bridge is definitely not the way to go. We just learned the hard lesson with that, as far as like overexposing ourselves by having holders have a whole bunch of tokens on to the bridge. That just opens us up for a can of things that we don't want. So, but first things first, though, in order before we could even start this whole process, we have to get these NFTs minted out. Like if you are a Roaring Kitty holder, if you hold Roaring Kitty token, we just need 420 holders to mint at least one NFT. All you have to do is just come here, click the mint, either have a Phantom wallet or a MetaMask wallet. You have to be logged into the Solana side, and you click mint, and after you click mint, it is going to mint you an NFT. And also, once everything is finished minted, then we're going to be able to see or start to see buys and sells, which should generate some fees. Now, NFT market is pretty much not popping, so the fees could vary depending on how fast we start to really ramp up on the prices on these NFTs after it hits the secondary market. Once that start happening, though, it's going to generate fees, which is going to allow us to do what? Come back to the open market and buy Roar. And that's going to be a positive tick on the upside. So hopefully this video makes sense. Hopefully you guys are excited about the future of Roar. Things are looking pretty good. And again, if you are a Roaring Kitty holder, we just need 420 people to just mint one NFT. Especially if you're a whale, mint a couple. So far I minted two. I think I'm gonna mint at least one more. Just gotta add some more Solana to my account. But yeah, I'm gonna mint one more, and the grand price of it, and this would also help your odds of earning that $1,000 in SOL. But let me know though in the comment down below your thoughts, your opinion about all this. Random Arts guy signing off. Peace!